Hey, beautiful people, it's Photobombshell here, and I am with Umraan and Enas Syed, the directors and creatives behind the Zenith visual album experience, the Zenith visual album, Zenith, all of it. How are you guys?
I'm doing great. I'm excited. I'm happy to be here.
So thrilled. I mean, we've been waiting for this moment for way too long. So the fact that we're here, it's in motion. We have all these elements, the podcast. Super stoked.
Podcast time.
Right now.
Yes, and the event obviously is tonight.
Uh-huh.
So what do you think is going to be the highlight of the night, in your opinion?
Dude, the highlight of the night, in my opinion, I think it's going to be the immersive experience of like having the visual album on an incredibly amazing screen. I think the screen that we're showing it on is over $1 million screen. And then we've like fine-tuned the audio so that it's super immersive. It's like surrounding where we have all the seating area. That's going to be amazing. Being at CineCity Studios is, I mean, it's a privilege. It's an honor. I love this place. I'm surprised I hadn't heard about it until now, but I'm happy I did. It's the perfect venue for what we want to do. And yeah, I think that's going to be the highlight. We also have incredible sponsors who are bringing incredible food. We got Olivo Tacos, we got Leona's Pizza, Zum Zum Sweets, Bora Bora Smoothie Cafe. It's going to be a party.
Yeah. I think we've like dreamed and fantasized of this night for so long. And what I'm looking forward to is like sitting down, lights have been dimmed, and like you hear that first note of the Zenith visual album. And you just know, we know, maybe you know because you've seen it once, where what you're in for when this visual album starts, the emotions, the experiences. I mean, all we ask, and I think we've discussed this, is like when you're sitting there and the lights dim and it's playing, have an open mind and like you will be in for such an experience. So I'm pretty much counting down for that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree completely.
So about the project, obviously, this is something that the people who are here live are going to experience. But for the people who are not seeing it in this setting with us together and missing out on being spoiled in general, for those folks, what would you want them most to take away from this project as they're viewing it independently?
When it's released and people are viewing it independently, I just want people to realize that, Zenith is about you. Zenith it's about overall the human condition, where our society is currently. It very much is a project that is like, it's like a social commentary about like where we are as a society, where we are as a people, and I think that everybody has a spaceman in them, and what that represents. So, I don't want to necessarily give everything away about what Spaceman is, but, if the questions come my way, I will answer it.
Yeah. And I would say for those people that are even viewing it in the comfort of their own bedrooms, wherever they are, respecting the project goes such a long way. And I've learned that being with Umraan, who is an active musician, producer, everything, that it's not just music. It really is a culmination of storytelling, visual components, of film, and then you can't diminish the value of each song in itself. I mean, with the number of people he's worked with, musicians, drummers, pianist, keyboard, bass, guitar, I mean, it is an entire orchestra within each song. So even if you are at home viewing this, I mean, just respect the music, listen to it in one sitting if possible. I mean, that will really give you the whole full experience.
True. Yeah, that's true. The music itself is so meticulous and detailed, and it really heightens the experience. And I think that, we made the music for the most part. We made like 50% of the music before we started making the visual album. And so it was like perfectly tailored for the visuals to fit what the music, sort of like the vibe it gives off. You know what I mean? So I think it's a very cohesive project. If somebody heard the music alone, I don't think that the way we directed the visual album would be the first thing that would pop into your head, because it's a very colorful album, and the visual album's in black and white. But it was a creative choice, and I think that for what we're trying to say, it really pulls it all together. It was the right creative choice, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
And kind of lending to your point where you mentioned that, there's all these different folks who have their hands in the project. You also worked on this visual album all over the country.
Yeah.
So can you share a little bit about that experience and what that was like? And then ultimately how, being that you did it in so many different places with so many people, how you were able to make that into one cohesive project?
E?
Okay, I'll start off with the process of that kind of went similar to how a lot of processes go. Umraan comes up to me with an idea and it's like so over ambitious and innovative and wonderful, as far as the idea. And then when it comes to the execution, it's usually where I start getting like weary, like, okay, this is a big endeavor, especially when you're filming this visual album, that the idea came to him. So we really just did a lot of planning and coordination. And I think what you've seen in the film, one of our biggest sites that we did was within California, a lot of areas within the desert, the mountains, the city, the beach. I mean, we took Zenith everywhere we could.
Yeah, we went all over the country. We did a lot of Midwest America as well, all over Illinois. We went to Indiana. We went all over California.
Yeah.
The main things we wanted to do was capture like a lot of different scene like landscapes. You know what I mean? We wanted to get the desert. We wanted to get rain. We wanted to get snow, fall, like everything in between. And that's what it shows, like the progression of what Spaceman's going through and how much he's going through and for how long he's going through it as well.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we wanted to like really cultivate what the human experience, all the struggles, all the pain, all the ups and downs. So we wouldn't be able to do that without really getting into every crevice of the country and, finding the different environments, the weathers, the natural landscapes. We wanted to include everything with the visuals, acting we did to give people that experience.
Yep.
That's awesome. And is there a favorite moment in the project for each of you?
Man, that's a tough one. For me, it's like saying on the album, is there like a favorite song of mine? It's always rotating. The last few days, like prepping and getting ready for everything for the screening today, I would say that "Take Me," the instrumental opener, has been like the thesis for the album, for the visual album. I think that it's just such a painfully beautiful beginning to an album, to the visual album, that it's like it really sums up the entire thing for me. And then there's other moments where 90 Seconds of Space has been my favorite for a very long time.
Awesome. 100%.
It's an emotional song, especially with the beat change at the 90-second mark. And then the way we filmed it and what we did for that song on the visual album, it's a really powerful moment. It's a really powerful moment. Yeah, I would say those two are like kind of my consistent favorites.
And you and I have talked about this just recently.
Mm-hmm.
When you mentioned being intentional, right? So in 90 Seconds to Space, the beat changes at 90 seconds, right? This whole project is something that just myself, I've never seen working with another independent artist. So a lot of what you do and the intentionality that you use sets you apart from other creatives. And can you speak to that and how you can relate or connect that to your work from here forward or from here in the past, if that hasn't always been as intentional in the results?
I mean, it's hard not to answer this without tooting my own horn, because this
do.
shit, it is just such a groundbreaking project.
Yeah.
It is just so fire. I mean, the music is incredible. I'm very competitive, and I made this project initially to just like push the bounds of music. You know what I mean? Like I consider myself one of the most diverse artists around right now, and diverse not in the sense that like I can do everything, but diverse because like the sounds that I do incorporate, I make it my own, and I do it in a very original way. Like my takes on rock, indie rock, post rock, R&B, hip hop, rap, boom bap, jazz. I have so much jazz influence as well, a lot of pop. I do it all in a way that's like it's like stamped with like an Umraan Syed, like stamp of approval. And so, to answer your question, I think that this album is just really groundbreaking, and I think that it's extremely intentional, but at the same time, not everything was like mapped out, right? Like I had ideas and I started going with it, and then she helped facilitate everything for it. encouraged me, supported me, guided me when I was trying to do things that might have not served the project and stuff like that. So she very much like did a lot of creative direction to like keep me on track. Uh, but I think that even comparing this to like what major label artists have released in the last like half decade or so, I think that it sits with the best of projects. And I mean that as I'm trying to be as humble as possible, but I'm just trying to be like objectively subjective. You know what I mean? That's kind of all I have to say about that. Yeah. What about you? You can have her reiterate the question because I went all over the place.
After that one,
I went all over the place.
Yeah. Stamp of approval.
That's her stamp now.
So being that a lot of these things were placed into the project strategically, intentionally, were there things that happened without giving too much away that you would consider a happy accident that shouldn't necessarily have occurred either in the music or the visuals that ended up in there and just works?
Yeah, totally. I mean, so much of it actually were happy accidents. Like, yeah, we were intentional about how we wanted to film things and how I wanted to make the music. But at a certain point, like, I would be in Ableton trying to line something up and trying to get certain instruments to line up and this and that, but all of a sudden things get warped and then it makes like a really weird warble, and then I ended up keeping it like in 90 Seconds to Space. And then for the visual component, there's like one scene where we have the drone that's like going upwards and Spaceman is walking, and Spaceman is kept in like a certain corner of the frame perfectly. And I'm pretty sure that was a mistake, but it actually makes for a very emotional scene when for where we inserted it during the ending jam of that song. So, I mean, this album is full of happy mistakes, but that's like the part of creating. That's the magic. A lot of musicians, they love the live component of music where things just happen. That's why people like improvisational music and jazz, and like freestyling and stuff. So a lot of my music, I try to incorporate that. Like when we're in the studio, yes, it takes me like years to finish a project and stuff, but it's because I wait for the inspiration to strike, and I capture those moments where things did come together. They just like burst into like a really happy mistake. And then I fine tune that so that we don't lose the essence of that mistake. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times there are artists where you listen to them. Like I listen to artists from like the 60s and 70s, and I love like their live jams and stuff. But when I listen to those songs in the studio setting, I can tell it's watered down, and like a lot of the passion and the spontaneity is gone. So I'm really big on trying to preserve that spontaneity without sacrificing like the quality and the accessibility.
Right, because almost in some regard, it requires a little bit of imperfection.
100%.
Yeah.
And when I've started off my music career, like in Bismillah and then House on the Vines, like there were a lot of imperfections that I wanted to keep in the music, but sometimes it didn't land exactly how I would want it to. So as I was making my albums, I was learning how to produce. I've been a musician for like well over 20 years, but doing it in a studio setting and trying to craft an actual cohesive project, it's a very different beast than learning to play violin from grades 5 through 10. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I learned how to do that process, and on Zenith, everything really came to fruition. It's like up until that point, it's basically peak art for me. It's the best that I could put together.
I mean, like also the name lends itself to that, right?
Exactly.
Zenith,
exactly. Exactly.
Reach the top. So, with that being said, given the name Zenith, this can't be the top or the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's next?
So with Zenith, I mean, it doesn't mean that for Umraan Syed, this is his Zenith and everything else is just a downward slope. It means like, and I mean, Zenith itself for the project, it means that it's a fictional place. It's a fictional place within this world that we've built, that in this very overpopulated, overpolluted world that exists, that people find solace in this place, Zenith. People think of it in this world as a place, beyond the stars, beyond the galaxies, where it's a utopia. And it's going to be something that saves the population, the billions and billions of people on Earth. And so, as as Spaceman, retrofits his 2011 Honda Civic with rocket thrusters and launches into space and travels across galaxies and universes and shit, he realizes at the end of it that he never found this utopia zenith. You know what I mean? And in his darkest moment, he realized that zenith is a state of being. It is something that's within him, and he discovered that. And so he races back home to join, the society of Earth and to make it a better place based on this like self-actualization. And so that's what zenith is. It's Spaceman, aka all of humanity, finding that your peak is within you and it's not outside of you. And that is how we need to treat each other as humans with one another. So zenith itself, the peak, is self-contained to this project. Between us and whoever might be listening or watching, my next project, Get Bent My Love, blows away zenith in my opinion.
No flex.
It is just it's incredible. I mean, it's fully into like the indie alternative rock direction that I've gone in. I mean, I have a lot of orchestral music. I have a 16-piece orchestra that I worked with on this, and it's just new heights for me musically. So I definitely think I have way better music in me. Not to say that this isn't like a 10 out of 10 album, Zenith, but I think I just made an 11 out of 10 album.
And I think listeners will see that because the way that Umraan crafts the albums, which I think is very fascinating. Zenith itself is 11 songs, and you're going to kind of feel the shift in those earlier songs versus the second half of the song. So with Zenith itself, you got Never Let Me
Never Let Me Down.
Never Let Me Down, and then you have Zenith Ascension. Those are the last two songs. And the genre of that music specifically, I feel like correlates a little bit with even the next project where he mentioned Get Bent My Love. So you'll kind of notice like, the progressive rock, the progressive indie, everything hip hop, it develops within the own project.
It does. And that's what's cool about GBML, Get Bent My Love, is that the way we end Zenith kind of dovetails into what the style of Get Bent is as a project. A lot more live instrumentation and like 90s, 2000s alternative rock.
So I want to shift gears a small bit. So we know that the two of you work together professionally, right? And worked on this project in great detail, seemingly incredibly well. How do you feel that was as a couple, but also as a brand? How did that impact the two of you, positively or negatively?
Sweetie?
It's not always easy to see the brand vision, it's over the course of several years we had this project. And when you get down to the day-to-day, it's not all fun and glamorous. There's a lot of, there's pushback, there's a lot of brainstorming, there's a lot of moving forward and then taking 3 steps back, especially in a project like this where we needed to have the top-notch cinematographers. We work with people all around the country. We had a fair share amount of actors. So I would say that, that daily push that, he had to motivate me a lot. I had to motivate him a lot. It was definitely challenging at times, but I think as we went more and more in it, we kind of saw the vision coming together. And even the brand. I mean, even as we were planning this event, he and I often talk and like, is there a brand? How are we making it? I mean, but then really when we like take a step back and for an event like this, which doesn't happen often, I think we can kind of see it a lot clearer and it feels amazing and it's inspiring for the next project.
Yeah, it was great working together. Obviously, the only glamorous part is like today when we're going to be doing the screening, and even then, it's extremely stressful. My heart's pounding right now thinking about all the things that we have to do for tonight. I'm trying to stay calm and party and stuff, but there's a lot to it, man. And I look back on my art and things that I've done in the years past that was very stressful. Looking back on it, I don't remember the stress. I literally, I look at the art, I listen to the art, and I'm like, damn, I'm so happy that I did that. And I wish that I did even more. So it's really worth it. One, because I have so much within me to say that like making art and making music is my therapy. That's why so much of my art is so like sincere and honest and vulnerable, because I'm really bearing my all to the world. First and foremost, I make it for myself. And then I'm like, hey, I like it. Let's put it out there. Let's see what happens. You know what I mean? I don't think I've ever made something where I was like, I'm tailoring this towards other people. It's always just for me, experimenting, and then I want to put it out there. But, to get back to your question, working as a couple, it's a great support. It's a great support. Enas is probably one of the most, fiercely dedicated women that I've ever met, and having her by my side to create with and to work on all these creative endeavors with it's an honor. Honestly, I wouldn't have reached my zenith, without her.
We love it. We love it.
I was gonna say, I mean, he is obviously the musical genius, and with my whole background, I have always had a passion for management and well thought out plans and the execution. I mean, that's like kind of my forte. So the fact that we were able to put this project to life with every shoot day we had, and then every editing day, and then forgetting a scene and going back to shooting that scene again, and then
Oh my God, it was such a headache. Dude.
Yeah.
By the end of it, I could not. I was hating putting on that spacesuit, hating it.
Really?
It was so aggravating and difficult and just very trying. Because I'm directing, with her, but like a lot of the scenes, I'm like, no, we have to get this scene. I'm counting on the cinematographers, the space locations, whether we have permission to film certain places, how we're gonna edit it, and everything's done on a shoestring budget. I funded the
Always.
vast majority of it. You know what I mean? We
Mhm.
did, and actually no, we funded all of it. We funded all of it. I don't think we got funding from anybody for anything at any point.
yeah.
So it was really tough. It's a project that's half a decade in the making, and we made it.
I'm so excited for tonight.
Me too.
Same.
What is the thing that you're like the number one most excited about the premiere this evening, as it relates to the other folks coming into the room, not just the project itself, but like the people in the room,
Can I go
the
first?
community? Oh, he's excited now. Okay.
I would say there's two. One is I'm really excited to feed a lot of people.
Yes.
I love feeding people, and we
Literally.
have incredible sponsors. And I think some of them are waiting for me right now. But we have incredible sponsors. I want to feed, the 100 or so people that are coming. And then when it relates to the art, when I say, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Zenith, and the lights slowly dim down, and you hear the first notes of Take Me. That's going to be like my adrenaline rush. I
Honestly.
want that so badly.
Yeah. I mean, I really want people to hear the project. It really comes down to that. Like, I love the cocktail, the social hour, and, networking with everyone. But the moment where we're all sitting down, and I want people to just have an open heart and experience the album. So
Right.
when we can get to that point and we go through with it, I just counting down.
Yeah.
And then I may be wrapping up here. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe
Yeah.
close to that time.
I think
but,
one more question.
my last question then is to the two of you about community, right? So, in music, I feel like it's almost required at this point to build a community.
Yes.
And a lot of what I connect to in your music is that it is so deeply human, right? You mentioned Spaceman is a reflection of the human experience. And while it's deeply personal to you, it's also universally resonant. And so how do you see the music building a community for you across the brand, across the space, or even just in your lives?
I think that some of my favorite music that I've ever heard from like the half century of music that's been released or more, it's always something that is honest. I just love honest music. And so, the process with which I go about making music, which is, I talk about all my personal struggles. Sometimes I incorporate other people's experiences that I know about or the way what they might be going through. But it always comes from a place of deep sincerity, honesty, and sentimentality. And so by focusing on that and taking the years that I do to put together this project and then releasing it, when people take the time to really understand it and dig into it and discover the wonders of like what goes into the art and how it can speak to them, I think that's where the community is going to get built. And, I could absolutely do a better job of like getting it out there and doing the marketing and doing the stuff that a label would have done. But, I'm a little bit of like a shy artist. I'm a little bit of a recluse, and, it's difficult for me to make freaking 15-second TikToks, you know,
It's so funny to me because
promoting
I
my
don't
shit.
see you like that at all.
I know people don't, but like she sees me like that. You know,
He's good at it.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
hard
good,
to do
but it's like
sometimes.
you know, you gotta sometimes put on a face for it. And I'm an honest person. Like there's no BS with me usually, and yeah, I think that's where the community is going to get built is when you know I've put the art out there, but I think that I need to do a better job with connecting people. I'm putting myself out there. I'm doing events. You know, I need to play live more, make more connections and stuff like that. So when I'm in create mode, I usually block everything out, and that's when I focus on it. But now that creating is done, and my next album's done, I got to really hit the pavement.
Honestly, yeah.
You know?
No excuses.
Yeah. Yeah. So, guys, we'll have some new 15-second TikToks coming your way. I'll be connecting with y'all. Let's get it.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Rose.
Thank you.